Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings. Recently, I was watching a rerun of the old 80s sitcom Cheers with Ted Danson. In the episode, his character, Sam Malone, mistakenly connects with a married woman. The husband discovers the infidelity, confronts him, and Sam peacefully disarms the man, but in the process, puts the weapon in his back pocket and, well, injures his buttock. But that's not what the story is about. What stuck with me was Ted Danson, reciting an old song. A pretty woman can make her husband look small and often leads to his downfall, whereas an ugly woman is said to cook meals on time and provide peace of mind. And he goes on, in the episode, he says something to the effect of, if you want to be happy for the rest of your life, never make a pretty woman your wife. So, from my personal point of view, get an ugly girl to marry you. The reason that this came up was that the man who confronted Sam was upset because of all the attention that his wife had garnered over time. And I'm here to tell you that is no safety net. Based on this image and the details that are about to be unfolded, men are not even safe from ugly women in a marriage. As you can see with the headline here, grim news for pastor's wife who took out hit on husband while sleeping with Angolan bodyguard. But there's more to this than just that. Throughout my channel, I've been documenting body language based off of Chase Hughes's ellipsis manual behavioral table of elements to help people determine what signals to pay attention to when they're watching somebody's body language, how a deception rating scale is achieved. And this is for those who are more analytical minded versus those who are intuitive. But those who are intuitive would be able to benefit from this as it documents the analytics behind what it is that they're seeing so that they can more confidently articulate it if they're in need of being able to make their expertise more concrete founded. So the husband, Beau, he was previously a police officer from Detroit Lakes back in 2013. And then, he switched jobs a few times. But the reason I want to emphasize this is that not because he's job hopping. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, the current idea is that switch up your job every couple of years if you're going to in order to get a raise of any value to keep up with whatever the economy is doing. Um, but more to the point is this is somebody who apparently you know had an aspiration to do certain missions. One was to be a mission to protect people. One was a mission to you know spread his faith and work with people in foreign lands. Angola is a nation inside the continent of Africa, in case you weren't aware. But I highlight the fact that he was a police officer. Police officers are considered an apex career in terms of they see all sides and facets of society. They see the rich, they see the poor, they see those who have something to lose, who are willing to pay off anything to protect it, and those who have lost everything and have nothing left and have no means of defending themselves. Um, Whatever your view of a police officer, good or bad, the oh one bad apple spoils the bunch, or they're all stalwart members of the community. Regardless of your view, the point is that police officers, and I've gone to trainings with them, they're trained on how to interpret body language. They're taught on, no matter what kind of discrediting that you've heard, they're trained on NLP, neuro linguistic programming. They're trained on body language. We were shown countless videos of confrontations that the instructors would pause and say, this was the signal right before the moment things escalated that cost this officer his life, and so on. There's other things that a former sheriff out of Texas, Richard Whitehouse, he taught forensic statement analysis, where he would have his subjects write statements in pen, to detail the events, and based off of the sentence diagramming, subject word, or excuse me, subject verb noun, adjective, adverb, and dissecting it, you're able to recognize, I got in my car and I took the company, nightly deposit to the bank, and then the car drove off with the deposit. That shift in pronoun ownership was a tell. And I bring this up to illustrate that somebody who is trained as law enforcement was not able to see through their own filter. They were blinded, their own ideology, their own willingness to trust somebody who was not deserving of that trust. They were trained and they still were blinded to the evil intent. So you have this woman, Jackie, that's married to this man. They have 5 kids. She was having an affair with the security guard, whom she recruited, and who then in turn recruited others to take out a hit on her husband. They're from Minnesota. Um, these children are now left, without their parents. From what it says here, that they will be they're being cared for by other family, and that the church is offering its support. But this should shock everybody to the core, because you've got your Charlie Kirks and your Ben Shapiro's out there. Just find a good woman. No, there's no such thing. People are not good just because. And that goes for everybody. But just, to make that broad assumption of just go to church and find a good woman. I mean, look at Michael Knowles. He can't wait to get a porn star, a sex worker, on his show so that he can slobber all over her because she found Jesus. That's a mockery. That's why I'm able to say Jesus, because they don't even take it seriously. So why should anybody else? And most dangerous of all is the sinister, predatory actors who are taking advantage of somebody who is taking it seriously. Reagan was infamous for saying trust but verify. And here you have somebody who's former law enforcement who didn't do that, who let his guard down. She was upset that they were moving to Africa, to the nation of Angola, or excuse me, leaving. She was upset that they were leaving Angola, because that would mean she's leaving her boyfriend behind. So she had these 3 men lured her husband, because he'd let his guard down in trusting his wife and trusting his security detachment, and they used a knife and ended his life. He didn't vet these men very well. They had previous criminal histories, and he'd only been a pastor for just the last 3 years or so, 3.5 years. I've got a link to the story in the description here, but I include this as a warning that even if society's considered apex protector, domestic protectors are easily duped in such a manner, what chance does the average man or boy have? I'm not trying to be cheeky. I'm not trying to be insulting. I'm attempting to provide a warning. You must be vigilant. Recognize the signs. Learn the skills so that you can recognize deception before it costs you your life.